Hello, hello. Everyone, the chat is blowing up. You guys, India, Italy, Texas, Florida, Denmark. Everyone is from everywhere. Okay, first of all, let's do a quick check. Can you hear me and can you see our screen? Let me know in the chat if everyone is seeing and hearing everything okay, and then we'll get started. We'll wait for confirmation. But welcome to our webinar this month.
A lot of international locations. Pretty cool.
I know. Oklahoma, Long Beach. Yep. Okay. I got a yep from Jeremy. Yes and yes from Adam. All right. Perfect. Alex, can you go to the next slide and we will get kicked off?
Let's do it.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you all could join us. My name's Maura. I'm the marketing manager here at Shogun. I am the person who sends you all those emails that I'm sure you love to get. And I'm joined by Jonas and Alex. Jonas is a senior solutions engineer. Alex is one of our customer success managers. And we're going to be doing this webinar with you guys today, all about custom elements. So right off the top, you will get a replay. There will be a replay if you have to hop, if you get pulled into a meeting, if your internet goes out, don't worry, we will send out a replay later today. It's also going to be available on our resources page. So this webinar is all about custom elements. This is a very, very powerful feature that we have in Shogun. Important to note, it is only available on our advanced plan right now. If you don't have our advanced plan, please don't mean that's not for you. We want you to see how this works. We want you to see the capabilities. Shogun is meant to be a tool that you can use as your business grows. So you might not be ready for it now, but that doesn't mean that sometime this year you won't be ready for it. So stick around, but if you're seeing something in the account and you're like, I don't have that, that's probably because you're not on the plan. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat. We also have an ask a question button. We will get to a Q&A at the end. If you have like specific questions about Page Builder, about your account, your subscription, you're trying to do something, we might not be able to get into it right now. So we're going to direct you to our support team, which is support@getshogun.com. They are on top of it. They are happy to help you, especially if you have specifics, like you're trying to do something. We won't be able to see, your account from here. So those questions, send them to support. If you do ask them, I'll make sure that they get filtered that way. But just so you know, the questions we ask in the Q&A will probably be about custom elements, data collections, and really what we talk about here. Okay, keep using the chat. I will be in there, but right now I'm going to hand it off to Jonas, and we'll get kicked off.
Awesome. Thank you, Maura. You can hear me, right? We're good?
Perfect.
Yes, I can hear you.
Cool. Alex and I are excited to walk you through how custom elements unlocks just a world of possibilities for your store's design, just to create a totally unique shopping experience. Okay, so let's just jump right in. You're already aware, most of you already have been using a huge selection of page building elements that just, non-technical teams can use to build out modern looking store pages. These elements could be accordion, sliders, videos, transforms, countdown timers, just to name a few. But all you have to do is you select it from our drag and drop menu, and you drop it anywhere on the page. It's really simple to do just that. And if you haven't already heard, we've recently released our recharge integration and color swatches for product variants just last week, right? And we're releasing these as we go along. But obviously, although we're continually releasing new features, we're not always going to have every single element available for our customers, at least not here. So for example, if you need to provide yours with something more interactive, right? Such as like a product image with a clickable hotspot or multiple clickable hotspots or a 360-degree product viewer. These are just some of like the custom design use cases we've been seeing that can be solved for by using custom elements. So with custom elements, developers now can create custom blocks of content that can be dragged and dropped like any other Shogun element. They can easily be reused and repurposed for other pages and campaigns. and can be managed by non-technical members without having the need to go back and forth with developers for updates. So when you're initially building out a custom element, developers will actually use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, these web technologies within Shogun's advanced section of your dashboard. When opening up our custom element editor, you'll notice these three labeled options: Liquid, CSS, and JavaScript. The Liquid tab supports HTML markup and tags from the Liquid templating language. These Liquid tags used in the custom element, what they do is they act as placeholders for your element's content. In just a minute, we'll go over and discuss the types of data sources that you can feed into your custom element as well. The CSS and JavaScript tabs for the element can either be placed here in the custom editor tabs or in your theme's existing style and script files as well. So either way, you get that either or. Now, earlier, I touched on the two types of data sources that feed into custom elements. I think that's the next one here, Alex. Thank you. Awesome. The type of data source determines whether content is added directly in the editor or populated by an existing data collection. We'll start out with user input. So when developers expose variables in the Liquid editor, Shogun will parse them and options here in the sidebar. These options will determine the type of content. For example, rich text and images. I've got this VR, I'm a big VR guy, so just put an Oculus Quest in there. So for example, rich text, images, just to name a few, right? The type of inputs that the content will be provided that essentially become user controls for your non-technical team members. So once they're created, they can easily be dragged and dropped onto any page, like any other Shogun element. It can be reused with different types of content. This will allow your non-technical teams to easily create engaging content directly in the Shogun editor without affecting the custom element code at all. Just so that you can better visualize, what we've just heard on custom elements, what they can do and how to create one, I'll pass it over to Alex and he'll walk us through it.
All right. Well, thank you, Jonas, and thank you, Maura, for that wonderful introduction. Jonas, I really like how you were able to plug in some new releases into today's webinar, so that's awesome. But yeah, we're going to be highlighting a custom element from Ridge Wallet. So I've pulled up their site and I've scrolled all the way to this amazing slideshow that they have going on here. So this slider element, this is all custom built using the custom element. And the way it's different than a regular slideshow, I mean, check this out. It's really interactive. So we're able to scroll through all these different phases of this slider, and we're able to get a beautiful visual of what the wallet difference is going to be. And, you're gaining an experience in terms of this wallet versus this one. And so this is something that's built using Liquid, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and it goes beyond just a regular slideshow. And it really does go beyond the slider capabilities that come native with Shogun. And so very, very cool here. Also, while I can't go into the code here for the Ridge, what I can do is use my own demo store and kind of show you from the main dashboard area, right? So you open up your Shogun Page Builder app, you're landing in your dashboard. You can go to the advanced tab. Basically, I'm just showing you all over again in live motion here what Jonas showed you on the slides. But you go to your advanced spot, you go to custom elements, and from custom elements, you're able to create a new one. We've already built this very cool rotating cube just to kind of demonstrate a interactive element that can be added to a page. And if you're not a developer, don't be scared about this. This isn't something that you have to know how to code. I just want you to know the kind of possibilities that exist out there. And so here we've got cube image, cube image, cube image. This is basically each face of the cube that we will be showcasing on a demo page in a moment. And for each face of the cube, we're going to our variables on the right-hand side, and we're selecting the kind of input that we want. So like, what do we want to show on this face of the cube? Well, we want our user, in this case, to be our employees or me building the page, not the customer browsing the website, okay? This does not mean user as in customer browsing the website. This means who's using the software, Shogun Page Builder, and adding content on that face. So we're going to make user input. Where are they going to be inputting that content? And it's going to be on the sidebar, the right-hand toolbar when you're in the actual editor. Again, I'll highlight that in a moment. And what kind of input are they adding? And this is what Jonas was talking about. Is it going to be text? Is it going to be rich text, an image, markdown, HTML, all this stuff? The other really cool thing is that when you're specifying your custom element, you can actually include drop zones. So you're able to use in your custom element any of the other native elements that already exist in Shogun. So that way you're not reinventing the wheel. Cool. So we're going to leave it at HTML, image HTML. And that's what all of these are going to be. So we're going to hit save. And now we'll go back to our dashboard and we will go into our custom element test page. And from here, I'm scrolling down on the right-hand toolbar. I'm scrolling down all the way to the very bottom where my custom elements will appear alongside with all the native elements. So now what I can do is I can grab this element because it's available for any page that I'm working on. I grab it, just drag and drop it onto the page where I need it to be. And depending on how it's coded, they will work with all these other native elements. And so if you have a column and you want your custom element to appear only in the center column, you can drag and drop it and place it in any of these kinds of structural blocks, right? Including the tabs, the sliders, the accordions, all that stuff. So here's our rotating cube. I'm just going to save it and publish it because the real rotation is going to work on the live site. But as you see, it's blank right now because we haven't added any kind of content to it. And these are the different content sources that we were looking at previously. I'm just going to duplicate my tab there. This one seems to have gone blank. But we'll go ahead and add an image. The way you can upload your media from here is the same way that you normally would upload media in Shogun Page Builder. So we can use a media library. I've got a cool shoe store going on here. So I'm just going to upload some shoe images. Look at that, image one. It's all the way at the very bottom. Now I can pick and choose. This comes default with the image variable when you add it, but you can pick and choose how it's going to spread over your containers. Any alternate text that you want, because ultimately we got 6 faces of the cube here, 6 images. That's a lot of images that we need to put alt text for. And we want to make sure search engines crawl that. So we'll go ahead and add the second one. I'm going to skip the alt text for now, but you get the idea. Add in another image, add in another one. We're just going shoe crazy here. Cool. Yeah, this one. And not a flower. We're not spicing things up with flowers. And then it is spring. Happy spring. And then this one. Cool. So now we've got images on all 6 sides. We'll go ahead and save. We'll go ahead and publish. And we'll give that a quick moment, right? We'll do the 3-second safety count, 1, 2, 3, just so that it propagates around the world. I'm in East Coast Canada. Takes us a while to get these websites fresh. So here it is, a beautiful interactive image cube on our site live, right? This is my demo store. And this just gives you the ability to create a experience for your customers that goes beyond what everybody else has and what you normally would get. So that's how
Could you
are able to build.
Thank you for that, Alex. Actually, could you go back to the actual element itself? real quick because I did want to actually showcase the CSS and JavaScript as well on top
absolutely.
of the Liquid.
Very good call. So again, back to the advanced, custom element, rotating cube.
Right.
These are the 3 different tabs inside the editor here. Liquid HTML can be inserted, CSS, and JavaScript. And so this helps keep it nice and clean. But again, as Jonas mentioned, you don't have to keep your CSS and JavaScript in here. You are able to include it in the header of your site. That being said, if you're building a landing page that doesn't have the header, you're going to want to ensure that your code is attached to your element.
And this goes whether you're in Shopify or BigCommerce, right? The Liquid tab is pure HTML. It's just that the variables themselves are using that Liquid templating engine.
And every time you make a change, I encourage you to hit save. All right. If there's anything else, let me know. Otherwise, I'll pass it back to you, Jonas.
Awesome. All right. Appreciate that. Just the walkthrough, Alex, and hope everyone's starting to get an idea of what's possible with custom elements. The second data source I want to touch on are called data collections. It's pretty cool. Let's say you have a lot of dynamic content like product education, blog articles, FAQs, even like an events feed that require a more customized design approach so that it's in line with your branding. You can combine your data collections with custom coded elements to transform Shogun into a content management system. So when you're initially setting up your custom data collections, you'll find it within Shogun's advanced section of your dashboard. With a custom data collection in Shogun, developers can actually define these various custom fields called properties. These actually hold multiple types of content, such as an event name, location, image, description, price, and so on, right? Using these defined properties, now your non-technical teams can easily add an entry to your data collection by simply selecting add entry and saving it. But nothing beats another demo, so we'll just really have this concept sink in. Alex, just walk us through it as well.
Definitely. Thank you, Jonas. So here I'm going to be highlighting the Brava experience here. So on this collection page for Brava, there is this wonderful frequently asked questions section. Now, you can always go about creating a fax by using our awesome accordion element. But when, for example, using a frequently asked questions piece on various collection pages, you might not want to go into each of your collection pages and update each and every accordion tab each and every time that you're adding new content to it. And so a frequently asked questions piece like this could be developed using a custom element along with a data collection. And the data collection, the different pieces of data would be this right here. So like, is cooking with Brava safe? Yeah, like this is a title. This piece is a separate, unique piece of data. Then the description and the answer underneath it, that is another separate piece of data. And so they can update and add new information as need be with all of these different data sets without having to go into each collection page that it's being displayed in and manually updating it. What they're able to do.
The little spinners do, the actual selectors.
Yeah. They're able to go back into the data set, update the data, and then it populates across everywhere it's being displayed. And then, yeah, you get the benefit of having a custom element and making sure that all of your custom CSS is included. It looks the way, it behaves the way that you want it to be, and to create like a really unique brand experience. So with that in mind, I'm going to jump back into my demo store, and we will go ahead and build a new a new custom element, but this time, instead of using the user input, it's going to be collection input. So we'll go back to dashboard, just as a refresher, click on the advanced tab. Now, here we've got our related articles, code for our custom element. And instead of, just like you remember here, instead of me choosing user input, the inputs are now collection is what they are. Okay. So we'll go into our data collection, and this is the collection that it's choosing from, blog feed. This is one that I built out here. And what the properties are that I added in the blog feed, because you can add properties just simply by clicking add property like that. The properties that I added are image, title, description, and link. And the reason I made these is because I was thinking, imagine you're wanting to replace your blog feed page that exists. There isn't a way for you to import a blog feed page. It's kind of hard coded into your theme there. And so there isn't a way to import that. But what you can do is build a faux blog feed page. And one of the main hurdles in doing that is having to constantly go back to that blog feed page and constantly adding in new entries and constantly formatting it to look the way that it should. Well, with a data collection, you're able to make that a ton easier. And some of the main things that go on a blog feed page are like the image of the blog article, the title of the blog post, the description, and the link. And you'll notice here on the right-hand side, I'm telling Shogun what I want the input to be. Again, my user input, my team's input. So when I say the property I want to display is an image, then I have to tell, or I can name it whatever I want, right? But I have to tell Shogun, okay, this has to be an image, right? So I'm picking image in this case. The title, I want it to be plain text. The description, plain text, and the link is going to be an HTML. It's going to be a hyperlink. Notice here, when I scroll down, this is where I'm actually able to input all that data. And then below that is where it's stored and saved, and I'm able to edit it at a later time. And so if I change, for example, the description from plain text to rich text, please take a look at what happens to this box. Look at it, it's just updated to become a rich text editor. So now I'm able to, change the heading size. I'm able to change the boldness, italics, underline it. I can format it easier. I could add, any kind of input that I want based on the setting in the properties here. So for simplicity's sake, I'll leave it at plain text because that's what it was. And these are, again, already input data sources. These are already input in there. So I'll go ahead and jump into my fake, temporary blog feed page that I created. I'll jump into it. And notice that it has no articles right now. Okay, so we're going to scroll all the way down on the right-hand side. We're going to grab our related articles. We're going to paste that. You're going to see that it's blank, right? It's blank right now because we have to assign a blog article to this blog feed. And so I'll choose, for example, the perfect fit, right? Here's a blog article I created. And look at this. The order of appearance is the image, the title, the description. And if I were to go on the live page, right, I'll just populate a few more in here. If I go on the live page, I'll save it, publish it, wait for it to publish. And then after this, we're going to count 1, 2, 3 magic seconds. We're going live, right? So here we go on the live page. Now I can click on any of these and they'll take me to the actual blog article, right? Very cool. So now what we can do is let's add a new entry. Let's see how cool and easy this is to do. All right, the new entry is going to be for this one here. Why proper footwear is critical for performance. Great. So let's take that title. Go ahead and upload an image. I'll upload it from my computer. And actually, let's see here. Some nice shoes. Somebody working out. There you go. Yeah, somebody's working out and they got the right footwear. So here's the title. Why proper footwear is critical. The description. I've got that copied already somewhere else. Thank you to my content team for writing this out. And the link is this URL. All right, so I'll copy that. We'll go back and paste it. And we're just going to click add entry. And now we've added the entry. Oh, looks like I already had the entry in here. So that's great. Round 2. Well, maybe what I can do is edit it. And you know what? I'll leave it as is. But the point is that when I go back to my feed, I'll refresh. The other thing, always make sure you hit save, right? That's something that's super important. We'll refresh. And let's see if we get two of the same options here. Yep. So we've doubled up our options. Okay. So I've entered a new entry in here. It just so happens to be the exact same one as before, because I like to make sure things get done. So that is how data collections work along with custom elements. And one of the things that you're able to do here, and you'll notice that we've got these integers and Boolean and checkboxes. You're able to work, with your development team and actually have them add additional controls on the right-hand toolbar here. So that way you're wanting maybe this column to have multiple, you want this row to have multiple columns. Well, with the correct talent in your dev team, they'd be able to build a custom element that allows you to have an integer value here that specifies how many columns are added to this row. And so that way, if you wanted more articles to be displayed or fewer or in different order or whatnot, that's something that you could, that is doable. It is possible. The tools are there for your developer team to work with.
You know what, Alex? Could we swap out that third one, the new tech, new kicks, with the one with the performance, and just kind of see what happens? Or
perfect.
There we go. Awesome.
Very good call.
You can save that. Okay, so that just shows in terms of reusability, right? That you can use the same one on multiple times on a single page or on multiple other pages. Essentially, the idea is that you can have one location to make these updates, right? So whenever you make an update to that data collection, all the pages with that custom content will be updated automatically, essentially, as well.
Absolutely. And in this case, we are manually choosing the article, but what is being displayed in terms of the content is updatable right from here. Yeah, perfect. And you'll notice that there is code involved, but I didn't touch any of it, right? I was able to do this in a code. Once it was built, I was able to use it. So, okay, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
You might break it, right? Thanks again, Alex. It's really good to actually see it visually, right? Just to kind of really cement what we're talking about here. We're actually getting towards the end of our presentation. We want to make sure we have enough time for questions, but I'd like to quickly sum things up. So what have we learned from custom elements in terms of what they do, what they empower you to do? They basically allow you to break out of the standard drag and drop elements, right? If you have a vision, you want to make sure that it's something you can create, custom designed, it can be done. Developers can have full control of your code, which is beneficial for just different types of use cases like accessibility, performance, and so on. You want to be able to supply your team with no-code, reusable elements. Just total control of the design and of your site, right? With a lot of folks have high design requirements, so this is an excellent way to meet those requirements and still have that flexibility. But yeah, we're at the end here for our presentation, but just want to appreciate you taking the time to hear us out. Just really want to get to your questions. We usually want to save some time here to get through as many questions as possible. And
actually,
Jonas,
if you don't mind, before we actually jump into this, there is one other thing I'd like to highlight here. that, I think I forgot to mention
Sure.
on these custom elements. And that is when you're working with custom elements and when you're working with data collections, you'll notice that there's two already populated in here, whether you're on BigCommerce or Shopify. So your product information and your collection information is a type of data collection, but we're pulling it in from your platform automatically for you. We're pulling in the IDs, the titles, the handles of your products. And, these data collections are what power the product boxes and the product elements and the collection boxes when you're using them in Shogun. So I just wanted to highlight that you can, when working with your own custom element, you can actually pull product data and pull it in using these IDs here. So you can integrate with that. And it just makes your custom element that much more powerful. And that's something that you mentioned earlier, where it's like if you wanted to build something like a product box that has hotspots on it, on the image, you're able to connect it to those products. And this is how you'd be able to do that with these dynamically pulled data collections from your platform. So I think
a good example for that, I think it was at OnTech, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember that one example. I think it was the OnTech services. I can pull as well, but just want to give that's a great point, right? You have the ability to pull the schema essentially of all your product data, your collection data, and have it displayed with your own custom code to display it the way you see fit. But yeah, we can get to that example. I think the example I'm referring to, I think it was ontechsmartservices.com. Can you pull that up?
Yes.
Just before we get to our questions.
Absolutely. Here's this.
So if you scroll down and that feature products and services, that's that little bar that you can drag. So that's something you can do, right? In terms of being able to get your product data, have your own custom slider, just your own look and feel in terms of your own branding and colors and styling. That's something you can do as well. Great point, Alex.
Fantastic. And then again, always save your data collections. Easy to delete, but okay, cool. So I think, I'm all done here and ready for some of those good questions in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So one of our first questions was from Leslie. Leslie asked, will there be any sort of code library that users can pull code from or something like this in the future?
It's a great point.
Yeah.
I think in the future, we definitely want to be able to, well, at least what we're thinking about is having more of a managed services deal where we can have something more custom designed for folks, some, specifications from companies. And this way we can design and create that ourselves. But in terms of a library, I think Alex and I were joking about this the other day, but you can actually get that content if you ask the right questions to ChatGPT per se, right? or you have like different code bases that you can go to and that they've been QA'd and the ability to do just that. I mean, those are some of the workarounds you can think of. But as of right now, we don't have a library. But that's a great point. Something we can take back to our product team with.
Something too that I can add to that is if you go into our help documents, by the way, you're just going to see this window fill up with tabs as the time goes on, just so until it reaches its final form of Tabmageddon. But you can go to our help center and type out the custom elements documentation. So in here, there's a little bit of a how to, and there is like liquid markup library for you to be able to, this is kind of dev centric here. Like you need to know what you're doing, but there is a library of liquid that you can use. Not necessarily, this doesn't cover everything that you can do with it because it's such an open tool. It's like you get to build any element, like whatever you want, like somebody created the idea of, hey, what should an image element contain? Or what should a container element have? I didn't want to say container element contain. What should be in here? This is up for grabs now. So as you and your team are working and you're figuring out, oh, it'd be really cool if Shogun did this, or this element had that, that's something that you can, scope out with your development team or with a freelancer or who knows what. But yeah, in terms of like, is there an easy library to actually get in there and build it? That's there is like a structure to it. But check out the help documents because they're right there. We have an introduction to custom elements. We've got a deeper dive in it, and also with data collections.
Yes, and I dropped the help document link into our chat if you need that. Also, before I get to the next question, Eddie in the chat said, I helped make that for OnTech. So we got a custom elements expert in here.
Wow.
All right. Our next question is from Jeremy. Since these custom elements use Liquid, will this work with Hydrogen, React, or headless sites?
Right. So it's a really good question. See, the idea is that what the output is HTML at the end of the day. So short answer, yes. The idea with Hydrogen is to use your React server components, but we've seen a lot of success with folks using Page Builder just to empower non-technical folks to create their custom elements, to use the elements that we already have out of the box as well to do just that.
All right. Trevor asked, can we import data into collections?
Okay, so I think, no, I don't think we have an import functionality at the moment.
Right.
That's a great point, though. I mean, in the sense of maybe that's something in the future in terms of having an API available. We're starting to play around with that idea just to open up our content management capabilities. But maybe an import field, maybe just something as quickly as like a CSV file, that could definitely be a quick win for us. But thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah, we love all these questions because everything you ask us and tell us, we do bring back to our product and engineering team. So we want to make the tool better for you. Okay, a couple more questions. So Leslie asked, if we're pulling a product collection into a landing page, would we be able to replace the product images with something like a rotating image?
It's a good question. And answer is yes, because you'll be able to add a drop zone, right? The idea is that when you pull in that data, you still want to be able to customize your custom element as much as possible. Again, it all comes down to how it's developed, making sure that those variables are available to you so that you can replace an image if need be.
And something I want to, because yes, you could do that with the custom layout when you're importing a product into Shogun. If you're using the layout from Shopify, so this is specific now for Shopify. If you're using the already existing layout that comes from either platform, BigCommerce or Shopify, you can't change the product image because what we're doing is importing that product box and you're adding content around the product box. However, with Shopify platform on Shogun Page Builder, you can do a custom layout. And essentially what that means is that you're no longer importing just the product box. You're importing the elements of that page, turning them into Shogun elements, and now you can start replacing the default product image with a custom element that is like, for example, the rotating block. So that's where you'd be able to replace the actual product image on your product page with a custom element.
Yeah, the product box element is really powerful in the sense that you want to be able to use your as much content from your catalog as possible.
I think I misunderstood because it was on a landing page, right? Not an imported product page. So you're right. Yeah. On a landing page, you don't even need to worry about any of that. you're
Stuff
adding whatever you want. Absolutely.
Your product box, right?
All right, so we got that. Okay. Can we add metadata information on custom elements for SEO purposes?
Not at this time. We're trying to get more, in tune with Shopify's native tech. So meta fields, meta objects, these are things that are all part of our roadmap. I couldn't give you a date though, at the moment.
All right. Can custom elements be nested in custom elements? This question is from Trevor.
It's deep. I mean, I guess it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Love to know what use case you're trying to figure out there, Leslie, because I mean, technically, yes, you can. I'm just trying to understand if the use case you're trying specifically to solve for even warrants it.
Yes. So Trevor, let us know in the chat what you're thinking of, and of course, if we get into sophisticated questions, we can always hop on a call one-on-one. Okay, we had another question about accessibility. Is it possible to add title and alt text for link and image?
Yes, those are all fields that you can absolutely develop into your custom elements. Accessibility, so your ARIA labels, so on within them.
Right. Are meta fields available in the Shopify collections?
Not at this moment.
Okay. We're getting a lot of plus ones for meta field integration.
Yeah, this is great. This is something we could. I mean, this is. Yeah, we definitely need to get maybe some of our form, some last minute survey forms out to folks just to see what they'd love to see within Page Builder. So there's been a lot of chatter about meta fields and incorporating those into even a product page, right? And this way you're using more of Shopify's native tooling from a content standpoint and repurposing that content. So this is something definitely on our radar with meta fields. Love to hear that everyone's feeling the same.
Yes. Dominic had a question. Dominic, yes, you do need an advanced account for Shogun to be able to use the custom elements. So if you're on a builder measure, you won't be able to see that option. But if you upgrade to advanced, and if you want to talk about that, our team is always here. You can always shoot us an email and we can get set up with a call and show you some other features in advanced. Okay, we had some questions on if we're going to cover form data and color swatches, which that was a new upgrade that we just did. We just released these things, so we're not going to be able to dive in, I think, right now just for time purposes. But knowing that there's interest, what we'll do is we will send out some more information following the webinar so that you can stay up to date. We also have a change log. I will drop the link again, but we are shipping new enhancements. We're shipping updates all the time. So we do have a lot of exciting things. I'll include the changelog as well and some follow-up information for you all. All right. Mike has a question, slightly unrelated. Have you seen hidden elements still being indexed by Google? I have some images in an element that are hidden on a template used for several store location pages until they're ready to be turned on for that specific location. But Google still picks them up when they're hidden.
That is something we can even think about with a custom element. So love to hopefully maybe have you submit a ticket, because if it's happening for you, this is obviously something that might be affecting our other customers. So Mike, if possible, if you can just add that to a support ticket, we'd love to actually take a look and see exactly how Google is being indexing that when it shouldn't be.
Yes.
As a workaround for that, do you think they'd be able to schedule a publishing of the page with the custom element on it for when it's ready to be visible?
That could work. Yeah, it could definitely work.
Until we figure out the real answer, the workaround.
Yeah.
Use content scheduling.
I think it's important to understand, what the purpose of the hidden elements. Like, do you need them on several pages,
Right.
or not? Would love to really dig in to those. Yeah.
All right. Mike said he will submit a ticket, so thank you for that. Again, our support team is always here. You can always send us tickets. We are happy to dive in and help you figure out what's going on and how to make Page Builder work for you. And finally, from John, can you A/B test the custom elements?
No, but that's a great point, John. Yeah, I can see how that could be very useful. We used to have an A/B test feature back in the day, but I think it was more on a page level versus at a custom element level, if I'm not mistaken. But no, not today. But this is something we can, again, definitely look into, and when we talk to our R&D team.
All right. Then our last question is from Tommy. Will you do other webinars covering other subjects such as form elements? Absolutely. We are here for you. It definitely seems like form elements are a big question from this group. So we will be sure to add that to our webinar lineup. We are trying to do webinars monthly. We want you to see all the features that you have in Page Builder that are available to you. So, we will put that in the lineup. All right. Okay. Eddie, we'll send you to our, Eddie's asking about job opportunities. Head to getshogun.com, and they have all of our listing for any job openings that we have right now. Getshogun.com is where to head for that. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us, for staying, for your questions, for your suggestions. Again, this is very important. You are the people who use this tool all the time. So we want to make sure we're getting you what you need. We will send out a replay later. We'll also send out some of that additional information that you asked for. And if you ever have any questions, please send us an email at support@getshogun.com. Alex and Jonas, thank you so much for being our fabulous hosts. And we'll see you all next time.
Thank you, Maura. Thank you, everyone, for attending as well. Definitely hope this was helpful.
So good to see everybody.